Hello, Chris Tangeris here with Rational Acoustics. This video will be a continuation of the first DI video series, which is just basic configuration with the generic I/O. So picking up from where we left off, I have friendly names for the signals that I'll be using, and I have configured multiple pairs corresponding with the three measurements that I have set up. So what we're going to do is just take a measurement of the speaker that I have here in my system, which is a studio monitor, and we'll take two measurements of it, one with the M30 and one with the iSemcon, and then we'll average them together and use the average to create a basic EQ for the system here. So without further ado, I will turn on the noise and take a measurement with the M30. You can see the data bar is hidden right now. I'll show that. I've already done this a few times just to make sure things are good, and I already have an EQ in place just to save time, so you don't have to watch me twiddle through knobs to place an EQ, but I'll describe everything that I've done as we go. So I'll hide the data bar again, and we'll turn on the noise and take our first measurement. Okay, so here are the two traces that I just created, the M30 and the iSemcon. Now what I'd like to do is use an average to base our EQ on. Now I see that there's some things that are happening in both. This little rather massive 40 hertz sub peak going on, which is no doubt room mode here where the microphones are placed, and that's something that I would want to attack with some sort of Helmholtz resonators tuned to 40 hertz or some other such studio technique, as we're in a studio environment. But for the purpose of our demo here, we'll just use EQ. So let's average these measurements, and the way we do that is we go and select average here in the data register, and select the two traces that we would like to average, and I'll name them monitor no EQ av, and we'll color this we'll do this bright green so you can see it over the black here. Apply. Okay, so here is the average of the two microphone positions. So we can see the general trend is some sort of low mid hump here, centered around 400 hertz or so, and then we got another, looks like maybe two high frequency humps here, one at 2.5 and one at 6.2, and then obviously that bass. So if I can smooth this trace down to even down as low as third octave, and we can see that the trends here, this peak, and then these things going on here. So let's go back to 24th octave just to maintain a higher resolution. You can go even higher at 148 and really see some of the comb filtering things that are happening, but we'll stay at 24th. So now I'll make an EQ based on this filter. So I'll switch over to the EQ transfer function pair, and I'll turn on the noise, and there we go. So there's the flat EQ, and I'll bypass this. Okay, so what we have here is really a complementary EQ for this system. So just sort of following along, and notice how the EQ is plotted up. I'm not actually boosting anything. That'd be silly here. What I've done is inverted the EQ trace, so that way it plots inverted. So that way we can sort of line up the EQ with our trace. So at this point I would listen to this and verify that it's okay and it sounds good, and I might tweak it from here. This is just a general starting point. Something that I might want to address is this, or maybe move this around a little bit, take a little less sub depending on what we'd like. So let's go ahead and we'll redo those first two measurements with the EQ on and see what our trace looks like now compared to the average with the EQ. So I'll hide these again and we'll redo the measurements starting with the M30. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll average these two traces again and see what our EQ has done to this signal. And we'll make this, we'll do bright pinkish. Okay, so here's our average here, and that makes sense to me. It looks like right in the middle, and let's compare that with our first average with the EQ. So here's the average of the system without EQ, and see we flattened out this sort of 2 to 3K range. We've tamed the mid-range here, and we've also brought down the sub a considerable amount. So this trace is looking a lot more flat. I might want to go and attack this little bump here, but without listening to it, it'd be tough to make a decision. So that's averaging stored traces and making a basic complementary EQ.